more than anything requires curiosity. You can't confirm a person surrounded by people, but you still feel alone. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Rufumela Loira and this is a space where we talk about life, wellness and everything else in between. So today, as you can see from the title of this video, we are talking about this book right here titled You Are Not Listening by Kate Murphy. So how I came about buying this book is that I was window shopping at Cavendish and I went to bargain books as always. I then saw on the spine of this book written You Are Not Listening and I was like, well, what are you saying? I went to flip it and see whether that's exactly what you're saying, that I am not listening.
Apologies everyone, I've lost the footage of the short bit right here, but we had to make a plan. So what this book is trying to explain is that as a generation we have lost the art of listening, because at work we are taught to lead the conversation. On social media we shape our personal narratives. At parties we talk over one another. And so if you look at that, no one's really taking time, or it really happens that we listen to one another because we're always talking, we always have something to say. And if being told that you're not listening doesn't move you, let's look at the flip side. No one is listening to you. So what is listening? Listening is being able to listen, hear, understand, and interpret what another person is saying. You look at the mood they say what they're saying, the tone they use, the body language, and also how someone else is receiving what you're saying. That's also part of listening. And so before we move forward, there's this quote I got from the book. It says, the ability to listen to anyone has been replaced by the capacity to shut out everyone, especially if we disagree with what they're saying or they don't get to the point fast.
So listening more than anything requires curiosity. This means that you should be curious or interested enough in hearing what another person is saying. That will lead you to asking the right questions and being attentive when someone else is speaking. Take a look at kids. They are very curious about the world around them and how things work around them. And so they'll ask a lot of questions about things and how they work. And they are also attentive and ask questions in order to ensure that they understood what was said properly. Okay, so people lose curiosity because they assume they know. We assume we know what another person is saying. We assume we know our partner, and so we're not curious enough to ask the right questions every time. And that's how, side note, people grow apart, because you're not curious enough to know me, to experience a person enough. Like, you can't confirm a person, but by asking the right questions and always being curious about another person, we get to know them, how they work, how they operate, and everything and all that. So, the author of this book is a journalist, and so she did mention that the most tea from her stories came from what people willingly gave out and not direct answers from the questions she asked. So this means that if you show a person that you're interested in what they have to say, or you're interested in listening, they end up giving you more and more information, rather more than what you asked for, because it's a safe space, right? So one of the downsides that the book highlighted of not listening or not being heard is that it leads to loneliness. I'm sure you've heard people saying, or you yourself have said, that you're surrounded by people, but you still feel lonely. This means that listening to someone or hearing someone out leads to a connection between the two of you, because you're experiencing a person, you're experiencing what goes on in their minds and their hearts, how they feel about something. And that really leads to connection, it leads to intimacy, if I may add. Downside is that being a good listener makes people come to you to vent and just dump down their problems on you without thinking twice, because you are a good listener and they feel safe and heard around you. That is when you should know when to stop. Good listening takes effort, it's draining and it's exhausting, and so you should know your limits, when to stop and when to engage. And so, in closing, just remember that people regret what they said and not what they hear. Therefore, try listening more. There's always more to learn from hearing what another person has to say and their experiences and their feelings. And you don't learn anything from what you say, because what you say, you already know. And that's it for now. Bye.